When you hear that banger, you know what time it is. It is time for another edition of the Stardom Situm Show. Welcome, everybody. I am Marcus Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio. Out there in the internet ether are the specialists, the cast of dozens that help us put on this show every single day and every single week. And Florio, here we are, round 2 of the fantasy playoffs. It is the week before the week in most leagues. Are we ready to give people 100% lockdown, no doubt about it, straight up correct starts and sits?
Nope, not even a little bit. Yeah, you know how like in Game of Thrones in the second to last episode, everyone like that's when stuff goes down. It feels like that's this week with the Jalen Hurts injury.
Got the Jalen Hurts injury. We have a ton of weather games. There's a lot going on here as we get to this penultimate
Winter is
week.
coming.
Winter is coming. Winter has shown up. Not in California. It's going to be like 77 degrees on Christmas Day. But everywhere else, there is apparently weather. We will, of course, go through the Week 16 top starts and sits, which you can check those out, of course, at NFL.com/start-sit. We're going to have some trending players, guys that deserve more hype. And, of course, we got the players that are going to get you into Club Dub for the weekend. So we got plenty to get to. And let's just kick it off right now with the Stardom Situm quarterbacks for Week 16. Florio, fire away.
Tua Tagovailoa against the Packers. I would still be starting him. Kirk Cousins is like a must-start option this week against the Giants. Daniel Jones, very much so in play in a great matchup against the Vikings. And then Geno Smith has a strong matchup as well, where he's probably chasing points. I would also be streaming Gardner Minshew this week. We're going to talk about him more later. And then some sits. Dak Prescott, just a tough matchup against the Eagles. Jared Goff and his road woes have continued. He hasn't scored over 15 points in a road game yet. Derek Carr in a really tough matchup against the Steelers. And Deshaun Watson against the Saints. Unless he's your best option, I would get away from him.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has yet to put up a really good fantasy game, and this is not the week. I think I'm willing to test those waters. Kirk Cousins, though, helped author the largest comeback in NFL history last week. This week, he's got the Giants, who defensively have been scuffling a little bit. Does Kirk stay hot?
I think he does. Last week, he had negative 0.38 fantasy points at the half and still scored over 32. And he has just been playing really good football. He scored at least 25 fantasy points in 2 straight, thrown for over 400 yards in 2 straight games, as you see there on the screen. The Giants, they rank middle of the pack against quarterbacks, but this is a indoor game, so you don't have to worry about weather. The Vikings offense have been explosive. They've been strong at home. Trust me, you could do a lot worse than Kirk Cousins at quarterback this week.
Kirk Cousins has been the ultimate matchup-based starter, and this feels like a potentially good matchup for him. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, and we talked about this on the NFL Fantasy Football Show, it feels like his reputation has kind of kept him in lineups, whereas the performance might be a little bit questionable. And this week, look, I know we're worried about the Eagles because Jalen Hurts isn't going to be there, but that doesn't impact their defense, Florio.
Yeah, not at all. And the Eagles defense has been so tough. I would argue they have the best secondary in football with the corners that they got there. And they allow the second fewest fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. And then you look at Dak Prescott's game logs, and it's exactly like you said, Marcus. Most weeks are around 15 fantasy points. Then he'll have a good, like last week, he went over 20. That was against the Jaguars. He had another good game a few weeks ago against the Vikings. Like, he puts up good numbers in good matchups. And the rest, he's kind of just pedestrian, and this is anything but a good matchup. So if you have the ability, I understand some people just don't have an option, but if you have the ability to get away from Dak this week, I would.
Big game for both these teams. The Eagles trying to lock up the 1 seed in the NFC. The Cowboys trying to see if they can improve their playoff seeding just a little bit there. Let's move on to the wide receivers and take a look at your starts and sits for Week 16. Who are they?
Mike Evans in a good matchup against the Cardinals. DJ Moore in a great matchup against the Lions. I think Darius Slayton is in play in a very strong matchup against the Vikings. And Jalen Waddle, I'd still start him. We saw last week how explosive he is. And then if you need a streaming option, Chris Moore gets a bunch of volume and has a really good matchup. Some sits, Marquise Brown against the Bucks. I just don't want to do that one. Curtis Samuel, Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers, all kind of similar. Not enough upside and not really a safe floor either.
So I mentioned on NFL Fantasy Live that I have a team that had a bye in the first round of the playoffs. They play this week, and I'm really hoping that Mike Evans can find this time to now pick things up. It's been a long time since he scored a touchdown. You like his odds against the Cardinals this week?
Yeah, the Cardinals are in the top 4 in red zone targets allowed to receivers. Plus, their secondary has just their defense as a whole isn't very scary and allows a bunch of production. And with this being a must-win game for the Bucs, I would not expect them to take their foot off the pedal, even if they're playing with a lead. And last week, Evans didn't get the touchdown, but he did have his most yards and fantasy points since week 8, his most targets since week 9. And what I especially love is he has at least 9 targets in 3 of his last 4 games. There's opportunity there. He's been the king of having near long touchdowns. There's at least 3 that he should have had that just didn't come to fruition this season. Eventually, one of those are going to connect, and hopefully, I'm with you, Marcus. I kind of need it to be this week.
I'm hoping that whatever happens early, because I just get the sense, because the Cardinals can't score, I don't think it's going to be incumbent on the Bucs to throw the football a lot. So whatever happens, I feel like it needs to happen probably in the first half. DJ Moore has been sort of up and down. We like him with Sam Darnold, and we like him especially against the Lions defense this week, right?
Yeah, 2 strong games with Sam Darnold where he's topped 18 fantasy points. He does have 1 dud in there, but this is about the matchup. The Lions have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points per game to receivers, the most to quarterbacks. They've also allowed the most yards and 2nd most touchdowns to slot receivers, 5th most yards to out wide receivers. Luckily for us, DJ Moore splits his time between the slot and out wide, so he kind of gets a bite of both of those apples. For what it's worth, I'm starting DJ Moore over Zay Jones in the league where I have him.
I do think this is a good DJ Moore week. I've gone back and forth on Zay Jones. I don't really know how to feel about him against the Jets. But the holidays are upon us, so we're going to rip through some names we're getting asked about a lot. Normally we call this How We Feeling, but the holidays are here. So we're going to call it Naughty or Nice this weekend. So let's start with Justin Herbert. He's got the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. Did not have a great game last week against the Titans when a lot of us expected him to. So this week against Indy, is he naughty or nice?
I was one of those people. I had him as my top stack with Mike Williams. He was naughty last week. I think he'll be nice this week almost by default. The Colts, they've allowed a lot of production in the air, on the ground. It doesn't matter. Their defense hasn't been great this season, but Herbert, it kind of comes down to him. Which Justin Herbert are we going to see? I think if you had him last week, you probably got knocked out. But if you survived, looking at what the quarterback landscape is this week, you probably don't have another choice but to just continue riding with Justin Herbert.
So Herbert is nice. I'm going to say for Brock Purdy, I think it's going to be kind of naughty for him this week. And I think part of it's because I don't know that the 49ers are necessarily going to need him. The Commanders have been tough on quarterbacks over the last month. Meanwhile, the Niners look like they are intent on loading up Christian McCaffrey with touches. He played 90% of the snaps last week, had over 30 touches. I think that's going to be the norm, at least for the rest of the regular season. So they won't ask Purdy to do a whole lot. And because of that, you're not going to get a whole lot from him fantasy-wise. Earlier in the week, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni announced that Gardner Minshew would start against the Cowboys. So is the stash naughty or nice?
The stash is nice. Look, I don't love the matchup at all. I understand that, but it's not like Minshew is some guy that we've never really seen before or anything like that. He was averaging 18 fantasy points per game as a starter in 2020. That was enough to make him the QB 13. He was useful in fantasy as a rookie. And now he's in a better system with better supporting cast around him, guys that can make plays after the catch. Trust me, you could do a lot worse if you're looking for a Jalen Hurts replacement than Gardner Minshew. Just ask me. I had to start Sam Darnold in place of Hurts in multiple leagues.
Yeah, I know a lot of people asking about Minshew. It's going to be a tough weekend for Jalen Hurts managers. Meanwhile, Dallas Goedert is back for the Eagles, so Minshew does get 1 returning target there to go along with Brown and Smith. And I'm going to say Goddard is going to be nice-ish. I do worry about how much they're going to use him in this game, just first coming back from that shoulder injury. But I think you play him just because of the ceiling. He is still one of the top tight ends we have at a position where we are always looking for depth and always looking for help. So maybe you have somebody out there like a David Njoku. Maybe you grabbed an Evan Ingram off the waiver wire and you're rotating. I might consider those guys over Goddard, but there aren't too many other guys that I would start ahead of Dallas Goedert that are easily available on waiver wires. Michael Pittman, he's got the Chargers. Normally we like him. Is he naughty or nice this week?
He's somewhere in the middle. He has to behave these next few days before Christmas or he's going to get coal under his tree. But I don't know. For me, I'm sitting him in one league where I have other options I can trust. In another league, I just don't really have anyone else, so I'm playing Michael Pittman Jr. I think it comes down to who your other options are because we don't know what he's going to be with Nick Foles, but I do anticipate he will still see volume and be their top target getter.
So that goes to DeAndre Hopkins now going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to say he's naughty-ish, but it's not really his fault. It's sort of like in school when a couple of kids are acting up and then the whole class gets punished as a result. That's sort of the situation here. Now that the Cardinals are down to Trace McSorley at quarterback, that impacts everybody in this offense. And I think for Hopkins, he still sees targets and maybe has a stable floor, although it's lower. The ceiling certainly comes down significantly. I get it if you don't have any better options, but I'm not excited about what I expect from Hopkins this week. Zach Moss last week stepped in and played very well after Jonathan Taylor went out with an injury. Is he naughty or nice against the Chargers?
I think he's nice. I think he's one of the better streamers this week. Both him and Deion Jackson, I think, are in play as streaming options. I'm not telling you to start them over people that you've been starting every week that got you here, but maybe you lost Jonathan Taylor, or maybe you've just been streaming your flex option or something like that. It's a really strong matchup, and there should be volume here, as I think the Colts, at least early on in that game, are going to try to establish the run and get away from Nick Foles.
We'll wrap it up with Tyler Algier, who I think is going to be just nice enough to earn a couple of gifts. I don't love the matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, but I do love the volume. The fact that the Eagles, or the Falcons rather, still want to run the football a ton. And Algier's the guy who's getting a lot of snaps and getting a lot of touches. Maybe, I won't say phasing out Cordero Patterson, but certainly starting to eat into some of that workload that we saw with Patterson. So the situation, not great, but I think the opportunity will help out for Tyler Algier. We talked about Dallas Goedert coming back. Darren Waller is back. And can you trust the baller in your lineup this weekend? We have some more likes and dislikes. Those coming up at tight end after the break here on the Stardom Sid'em Show. Starts at tight ends for week 16. Hit me with them.
George Kittle in a good, well, not a great matchup, but I would still be playing him. Darren Waller returned to our fantasy lives and should be in our starting lineups again. Juwan Johnson has been balling out. David Njoku, I am starting him in more leagues than I want to admit. And then I am streaming Cade Otton if you need a tight end this week. Sits Cole Kmet in a tough matchup against the Bills. On the other side, Dawson Knox in a tough matchup against the Bears. Greg Dulcich didn't come through against the Cardinals. I don't want to trust him. And that Taysom Hill, I know he threw a touchdown, but he's not going to do that every week.
Taysom Hill, I just have to stop and shake my head whenever that conversation comes up. You mentioned Darren Waller. They've got the Steelers this week. Of course, you can see that game exclusively on NFL Network. It's Saturday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. You can also stream it on NFL Plus. But Waller back last week, 3 catches, had a touchdown, didn't play a ton of snaps. It felt like the Raiders were easing him back. I'm expecting a bigger workload for Waller this week. Is it workload? Is it matchup? All of the above? Why do you like him?
It's kind of all of the above. I expect more volume for him for sure. And like last week, he turned 3 targets into 14 fantasy points while averaging over 16 yards per catch. Like, there's not many tight ends that bring that sort of ceiling and that upside. So much like you said with Dallas Goedert, like unless you have another really reliable option, I think you have to get Darren Waller into your starting lineup. And I know weather is a concern, but I feel like if they're going to be throwing short passes, that only helps Darren Waller.
I definitely think that's going to help. And we know that, Derek Carr, he's taken some shots downfield, but I think they would much rather have it be Devontae Adams and Darren Waller than trying to force feed Mac Hollins or Keelan Cole. Juwan Johnson is a guy that you and I have liked as a sleeper for long stretches of the year. I think he's out of the sleeper qualification now, Florio. I think he's just a start now.
I completely agree, and I kicked myself for sitting him last week. I think many people, I would even put myself in that group, forgot just how reliable Juwan Johnson was before his injury. He returned last week. He had a team-high 6 targets, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns, nearly 23 fantasy points. Since week 7, he's averaging just under 15 fantasy points per game. That's what we were getting out of early season Mark Andrews. Like, Juwan Johnson has been a lot better than I think people realize. And for a while, it was like, all right, if he doesn't catch a touchdown, though, the floor is low. Even that seems to have changed as he's getting consistent week in and week out volume. Just start Juwan Johnson if you have him.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a lot of looks. Maybe some of them could go to Alvin Kamara, but I guess we should be thankful that we're getting a tight end out of the deal anyway. So a tasty matchup potentially for Jawan Johnson. That gets us to our finger-licking good start of the week. The guys that deserve a little bit more hype and must be in fantasy lineups here in this playoff weekend. For you, who's the guy that deserves a little more love?
Najee Harris against the Raiders. Look, not only have the Raiders allowed the third most fantasy points to running backs, so we know you could run against them. If this is going to be bad weather, like everyone is saying, with whipping winds and freezing cold temperatures, yeah, that's the kind of situation where you give your power back like Najee Harris a bunch of touches, and that's already what they've been doing. He's been consistently rushing for over 85 yards, getting a little bit more targets, getting more touchdowns as of late as well. He is going to make up for his early season woes with a big late season push, and it's firmly underway, I think.
All right, so Najee Harris is one. I like another running back. This one, Isaiah Pacheco. I've been saying all week that I think the Chiefs have two usable fantasy running backs. Now, I think the floor and the ceiling for Pacheco are a little bit lower than what they've been for Jerick McKinnon lately, but that doesn't mean there won't be plenty of opportunity. And I think it's especially good against this Seattle defense that struggled all year long against the run. I do think the Seahawks have enough to kind of stay in the game, so I don't expect that it's going to be a heavy dose of Pacheco in the fourth quarter, but I do think he gets a lot of opportunities and will find some holes against that bad Seattle front. Next one, who else deserves some love?
Christian Watson. I know he disappointed last week, but he was still targeted in the end zone, almost came down with a touchdown. There was a play where he was open downfield and Rodgers just didn't see him. Plus, he had a lot of Jalen Ramsey on him. That's a tough test for a rookie, but there's still far too much upside with Watson, who could win downfield after the catch in the red zone. Plus, I think this is a game where a lot of points are expected, and the Dolphins offense is going to get there, so the Packers are going to have to be throwing the ball to keep up with them. And it's in Miami, so you don't have to worry about the weather. I would definitely start Watson.
So I talked about Isaiah Pacheco. I'm going to start the quarterback that he's going against. That's Geno Smith.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back.
Exactly. He's still not riding back. He's got a ton of games with multiple touchdown passes, 11, I believe, to be exact. And look, the Chiefs are willing to give up some yards through the air. We have seen it during different times of the year. Plus, Kansas City is scoring. That means Seattle's going to have to try and match them point for point. And I think that means a whole lot of Geno Smith going against that Chiefs secondary. We still got more.
Geno Smith.
That's right. Pro Bowl Geno Smith. Shout out to Geno for making it to the Pro Bowl this year. Absolutely deserving after what he has done. Still to come, Santa Florio is going to let you know which RBs are going to be naughty or nice in the playoffs. And we're heading to Club Dub. So get all your stuff ready. We're going to put on some perfume. Make sure you smell nice because we're going to be back here on the Stardom Sit-'em Show. Florio, take us through your start-sit running backs.
David Montgomery against the Bills, who have been ran all over. Jerick McKinnon, who is red hot. Alvin Kamara, I know he hasn't been used properly, but he has a great matchup against the Browns. J.K. Dobbins in a good matchup against Atlanta, and there's no Lamar Jackson there, so they're probably going to give him even more touches. And then I think both Colts, Zach Moss and Deion Jackson, are in play as streaming options. My sits, he of the big hat, Brian Robinson, Deontay Foreman in a tough matchup against the Lions, Cam Akers in a tough matchup against the Broncos, and Jamal Williams just not enough production if he doesn't get a touchdown, so I would sit him against the Panthers.
Yeah, Jamal Williams has had a big fall off in the last few weeks. Jerick McKinnon, though, has had a pretty big glow up. I talked about how much I liked Isaiah Pacheco. Jerick McKinnon maybe has an even higher ceiling than Pacheco does.
Yeah, McKinnon has been red hot as of late. He's been the RB1 in each of the last two games, giving you over 32 fantasy points in each of those. And now he gets the Seahawks, who've allowed the second most fantasy points per game to running backs. They're also in the top 7 in catches and receiving yards allowed to the position. And I think what the Chiefs have done is kind of limit him early in the year. He was a big part of their playoff offense last year. You don't want to wear him down in the regular season, but now we are starting to see him come to life, and I don't expect him to go away in this offense.
I expect a really big game from him this week against the Seahawks. Meanwhile, for Brian Robinson, had a nice matchup last week, did okay with it. This week, San Francisco 49ers are on the docket. I want no parts of a running back against the 49ers ever.
Same. They have yet to allow 60 rushing yards in a game to a running back. And on this season, not only have they allowed the fewest by far fantasy points to running backs, they've also allowed the fewest rushing yards Running backs don't have 800 yards against this team, whereas against every other team in the NFL, they have at least 900. So there's such a gap between the Niners and every other defense against the run. And if the Commanders are trailing, it's not like Brian Robinson's going to get a bunch of targets to kind of save his day. We know they like Antonio Gibson in that role. I would start to sit both of my Commanders, but especially Brian Robinson.
You talk about running backs against the 49ers. The running back that has the biggest fantasy day against San Francisco is Christian McCaffrey. So it's basically like the Niners looked around and like, we can't stop you, so we will acquire you and we'll prevent this from happening again. Oh, that's wild. All right, so those are the guys that we like at all the different positions. Now let's talk about the guys that we love for real, for real. It's time for Club Day! Guys, we guarantee you will score 25 plus fantasy points or you get your money back from watching this show. So who gets behind the velvet ropes this week?
I haven't gone to like a bar or a club dressed as Santa since my SantaCon days. Those are long behind me, but I'll dress up for this week for Kenneth Walker, who I think is gonna. Oh, my money gun jam. Anyway, Kenneth Walker, he's gonna go off this week. Look, last week he returned. I said to sit him because we weren't sure if he was healthy, and he got that Niners defense, but he didn't have a huge fantasy game. He looked healthy, though. He did put up pretty good numbers considering who the opponent was. Now he gets the Chiefs, who have struggled against the run a bit. They also give up a lot of production in the passing game. 2 running backs. Just remember, though, how great Kenneth Walker was before he got hurt and before that Niners matchup. I anticipate that is the guy we are going to see this week. I would start him every single league you have him in.
So you got Kenneth Walker. I got another running back who plays on the West Coast, and that is friend of the program, Austin Ekeler. Get in the club, Doug. I don't know, some of these money guns jamming. That's whack. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're just going to make it rain here with these fake hundreds because Austin Ekeler is getting into Club Dub against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. The Colts have really struggled against running backs, and we saw it in the second half last week going against Dalvin Cook. We saw Cook with the long catch and run for a touchdown that really sparked the comeback. Austin Ekeler can absolutely do the same. So maybe it doesn't all happen on the ground for Austin Ekeler, but it does happen in his own special way. And that's why we talk about next year. Austin Ekeler is very much going to be in the conversation for the 1.01 in plenty of fantasy leagues. By the way, it's week 16, so you probably already know this. But just in case you don't, you subscribe to one of our shows, you get all of our shows. Be sure to check them out, whether it is on YouTube, whether it's in the Fast channels, or if it's in the NFL Fantasy app. You get plenty of fantasy goodness all week long. But for now, that's going to do it for this edition of the Stardom Sit-'em Show. He is Michael. I am Marcus. Best of luck to you. Enjoy week 16. Hopefully you make it through the playoffs, and we will talk to you next week.